Hi, I'm Natasha Maguire. I'm here today to show you some common teething problems with our product checkup. First of all, when you open your box of checkup, you'll have some stacks of plates like this. And I guess what we want to make sure of, this label is the way that they should stay upright. So they should always be the same way that you got them in the box. And if we open the package, up this way. Rubbish. Now what you'll probably notice, I don't know if you can see, but some of these plates have got condensation on them. Now condensation is a way for things to get into the plates basically. So what I'm going to do first of all is with a clean paper towel, I'm just going to dry down this whole stack of plates. So I'm not going to take the lids off or anything like that. Just gently dry them down. So the ones that I'm going to use today for the test, I will use, and the others, inside the checkup box are some plastic bags. And we're going to put the unused test kits into a plastic bag now that we've dried them down. If we put them away wet, there's just a bigger risk that they will become contaminated. So we're taking care to keep them the same way up. Okay? And we're also going to seal the ziplock. So squeeze out the air and seal the ziplock, and then we can put them back into our box so they stay nice and clean. There we go. So, we're going to run through testing a milk sample quickly. First thing is you need to know which cow it's from, obviously if you're taking a few. So this one was from cow number 157, and it was also from her front right quarter. So labelling the sample is very important. The sooner that we test the sample, the sooner you're going to get your results, first of all. But second of all, the sooner we test the sample, the less we have to worry about things that were in the background when the sample was collected becoming a feature when they really weren't there in the beginning. So the key is getting the sample onto the test kit as soon as you can. Now given that mostly everybody using checkup is going to be working on the farm, you might not have a very clean work surface. So what is important is to have some clean paper towel so that you can make yourself a clean work surface. Remove a test kit, and you can just wipe off any condensation from the outside. Up. And also with the checkup kit, you've got some of these plastic loops. Very important, only touch the end of the loop. So it has two ends, one with a loop on to pick up the milk and one that you can touch. So we're just going to touch this end. And we're going to give our milk sample a nice mix so that we've mixed all the cream and the milk in together. And you may be able to see, if we dip the loop into the sample, we'll pick up just the right amount of milk. So if we touch it against the sides, it will actually release the milk and we'll lose the volume. So we're going to pick up that amount of milk. And then if you want to come in a bit closer, we're going to put the milk onto the plate. Now how we do that is we touch the loop down and it will release the milk. And then we're just going to make like a zigzag. And we're going to repeat that for each section of the test. Just turn it around in your hand as you go. Okay, and the last section there. So we've got it on all four sections. We're then going to put the plate face down back onto the lid. So we had the lid on the bench the whole time. This is important to keep anything that might be in the air blowing around getting into the plate. And because we're going to remember which cow it came from, we're also going to label the plate. Now if we look at the plate, where should we label it? Where would be a good place? If we write on this red section, it's likely after incubation that we may not see it. So what I like to do is just write onto, there's some lines there. If you write the number of the cow onto the middle of the line, then where everything grows, it's not going to be in the way. So we're still going to be able to see the number of the cow, which is really important. Now we are going to keep this sample exactly the same way up, okay? So the lid is on the bottom, the actual media where we put the plate is on the top, and this is just so that we don't get any condensation forming and then falling back into the cultures, which will spoil our result, okay? Alright, next step. Alright, now that we've got our cow plated onto our test kit, we're going to put that into a plastic bag. So we're keeping it up that same way that I showed you with the lid at the bottom, and we're going to seal that bag. Now these bags, there's 3 provided in each test kit. You can put plates that are unused into them to seal them up, because believe it or not, they will dry out in the fridge. You can also put up to 5 samples together into one plastic bag, so you don't have to have one bag per sample. And if you're using them for samples, you can also reuse the bags in the incubator. So just so you don't need a lot of bags. We're not trying to generate loads of plastic, of course. Once we've got that sealed in our Ziploc bag, we're going to carry it over to our trusty incubator. So there's the on-farm incubator. You only need to plug it in when you're going to use it, and all you have to do is just pop it in there, same way up. You don't need to wait for it to get to 37. One of the common questions that we do have sometimes is that my incubator's going over 37. And why is that? It's preset to 37. If you put the incubator in a place that's really hot, it's likely that it will not be able to control the temperature at 37. So basically the ambient temperature needs to be no warmer than probably 25 to be able to control the 37. If you've got it in a really hot place, you might have to put it somewhere where it isn't so hot. If the incubator goes over 40, it's likely that you'll start to kill off some of those bacteria that you're trying to grow. So don't worry if it's at 37 or 38, that's fine, but if it starts getting hotter, then you probably need to find a better location for the incubator. So, the first step after we've put the sample in the incubator is to wait for 24 hours. That's our first interval, and really important interval in terms of treatment for the cows. So anything that is able to be treated generally will grow within the first 24 hours, as well as some things that unfortunately aren't able to be treated. But we'll have a look at that first 24-hour inspection. Sometimes you'll get condensation forming inside the test kit, and that's just an artifact of what the conditions were like generally outside, particularly if it's cooler. That will happen. So when you take the test kit out of the incubator, just be really gentle and careful to hold it in the same orientation that it was. And we remove it from the bag. And sometimes, as you can see with this one, there can be a fair amount of condensation in the bottom of the test kit. So we're just going to take that out just by turning that lid upside down. So it's really important that we keep the orientation of this still this way, okay? And now we're good to have a look at our result. In the case of this particular cow, we don't have anything growing, okay? What that means is at this interval, even though this cow may have had abnormal milk, there is nothing that we can do in terms of treatment with an antibiotic, and we're actually okay to wait for the next interval. There are some bacteria that take longer than 24 hours to grow, and so that we can eliminate them rather than just not know if the cow's going to be okay or not, or if she's got a pathogen there or not, we're going to grow this again for another 24 hours. If nothing grows then, we're going to grow for another 24 hours. If there's nothing at 72 hours, there is nothing there, okay, and we're good to go. That cow doesn't have anything that's growing aerobically at least. I guess the only thing that doesn't rule out is something like mycoplasma. So if you are seeing perhaps a lot of mastitis, multiple quarters, and seeing maybe treatment's not working, that would be a consideration that checkup unfortunately can't help with. So we're good to go. We'll put this back in the incubator for another 24 hours. Once we've finished with any plates that we haven't used, any test kits that we haven't used, put them back into the box. So remember the way up that they have to go, the lid's down, the agar side up, back into our kit. Now this is going to keep them from getting anything spilt on them that might be in the fridge or whatever. Keep everything nice and tidy and together. The box has got some arrows on it of which way it needs to be stored. okay? And it also says on the box that it must be kept between 36 and 46 Fahrenheit or 2 and 8 Celsius. So that means not frozen. So if you're keeping it in a place on your farm where there might be things you want to keep really cold, then you want to have the fridge just at a normal temperature, not a really cold temperature. Also, don't put it near the back of the fridge. So I'm going to put this back into the fridge. And we're not going to push it right to the back, we're just going to keep it just sort of towards the front and so it doesn't freeze, otherwise we'll spoil our kits. One last thing to cover off on is the interpretation manual for reading the plate. So if you are a beginner, the checkup interpretation map, really important. So this is going to be the same way that you put the milk on. So our general section that we refer to is a control that will grow anything that's there. Section 1 will grow gram-positive bacteria, mostly. Section 2 will grow gram-negative bacteria, mostly. And Section 3 will grow anything that's incredibly antibiotic resistant. So just a little bit of a guide. So what we do first is look at what's growing. So for example, if we see pink things growing in Section 2, we will also have something growing in the general section. It doesn't matter what colour they are, there will generally be something growing there. Then we turn to our book and we go to Section 2 pink, and it will show us, for example, Section 2 pink, that we have E. coli. And this is how you use the reference book. Because it's something that you may not have done before, we also have on the other side of the reference book the instruction manual. Okay, so have a wee look. If you're the sort of person that loves instructions, there's plenty of them there for you. If there's something that you're not sure about, because bearing in mind this may not have been something that you've done before, or even if you were a microbiologist and you've done this before, this system may be different to something that you've used before. So we also have a website, www.farmmedics.com. We have email, info@farmmedics.com, and we have text messaging where you can send a photograph of your test result and you can get support for the checkup system. So don't be a stranger, we'd love to hear from you.